when you run a restaurant, like writing the dishes and writing the menu and like doing that work, that's a big part of it. But you're also like processing payroll, like staying up on maintenance, buying your equipment, dealing with your investors, your landlord, all those things. Like at the corporate level, like I'm just straight food. Like I just think about food. I mean, I think about like how we're going to execute in the store, like the labor model. I think about how we're going to cost it out. But, at the heart of it, I do way much more cooking now than when I was running restaurants. Because it's just like, it's just, I never thought it would be like that. But that was like a learning, like coming from fine dining to here. Well, wait, how did the app begin though? Tell me that.
Oh, the app was long before that. I mean,
really?
Like,
but you just had a desire, like you?
No, so it's funny. The original idea for the app was in 2003. I was working for Floyd at Tabla.
Yep.
And in the mornings, I worked for free for Batali he had this salumi shop in Union Square. And this guy, Dan Latham, used to run it. Really great guy. And we still talk today. Actually, he's a customer of me's. And I had, we all have our little notebooks, and I wrote everything in this notebook because, with charcuterie, there's so many little details, humidity, temperature, time, like what strain of bacteria you're using, all these things. And I meticulously wrote it all down, and I lost the notebook. I was staging at Veritas on my day off.
Mm-hmm. Man, I remember those days.
Yeah,
also those restaurants too.
Scott Bryant was the chef at the time.
Tabla, Veritas.
And I lost the notebook. So the original idea was like, well, I never want that to happen again. I want to digitize all my recipes.
Mm-hmm.
Then obviously, then I started becoming a sous chef and a chef, and then I started owning my own restaurants, and I was like, oh, there's this whole other thing that's also there. And so me grew into a lot more than just digitizing recipes. And it was brutal when I first started because...
Did you program the back end yourself?
No. But we're used to using Google Sheets, Google Docs.
Oh yeah, Google Sheets and Excel.
That's what we all use.
Yeah, that's what I was doing up until I discovered your program.
Yeah, and or Evernote or something. Some people use Evernote and things like that, and they're fine.
Mm-hmm.
The good thing about them is that you just write.
Yeah.
The bad thing is, everybody
has every single time.
Yeah, everybody creates their own formulas, and I have my special way in which I track all these things and feed in my costs, and so that part's a mess. But it is easy to just put all your recipes in, and then they're there.
Yeah.
So the thing that was the hardest and the most painful was figuring out the tech of how do you get all that, all those recipes from Google Sheets, Google Docs into a software. Mm-hmm. And in the beginning, man, I would just give it to all my friends, like, hey, just play with this. And every one of them was like, dude, this fucking sucks. This is way too much work.
I hated it.
You're like, this is too much work. I just want to but it was great. They would complain about this and then that. So I'd fix this and then I'd fix that. And they'd be like, but I need this, need that. And it needs to know this. And so, we're kind of like chefs are to the point. They're pretty, and especially luckily my friends were very to the point and they weren't sugarcoating and they're like, I won't use it unless you do this and this. And so that was 2 years of.
That's actually how I describe your program. It's very to the point.
Yeah.
I put my recipes in, it auto-calculates everything. I drop in my invoice costs and it runs nutrition for me. I give it a serving size. To the point, it's those 3 things that I need. I need a scalable recipe. I need my nutrition and I need an estimate of my COGS.
Yeah.
It does it right for me.
Yeah.
Very mind-blowing how quick it did it.
Well, I appreciate that. It's funny how much work it took just to get to that simple point.
Because I know what it's like to build the spreadsheets because I was building basically a spreadsheet from scratch every time. I mean, this is since I started working in restaurants, but then when I get to the big time, like Chipotle, Burger King here, I would run them spreadsheets myself. And I'd build the model every time from scratch just because I don't want to miss anything. Because it's hard to cut and paste because there's, like you said, sometimes they're a little specific to what your product is.
Yeah.
And I'd come up with these monstrosities of 5 pages. You don't know what to update. I'd forget what the formula was and I had to go back and retrain myself. Okay, I do this and then that. And okay, I converted to grams there. And it was just a breath of fresh air when I got Mies.
Yeah, and it's crazy that happens at that scale too. Well, anyways, let's get into
Let's talk.
First of all, welcome to the show. I'm really honored to be here at the Sweetgreen headquarters, and you have just an insane background, which makes sense for Sweetgreen to hire someone like you because before Sweetgreen, and Chipotle and Burger King, you were working with Danielle and a bunch of incredible chefs like that, Thomas Keller, really the best of the best. So you've been sort of on the best of the best on both sides of the coin, which doesn't happen very often. So there's a lot of questions I have obviously about that because I'm fascinated. But to start, like, what is a day in the life of the head of culinary at Sweetgreen?
Okay, I'm a morning person. I'm up early, like 4:05. I usually beat my alarm by a couple minutes, which is
wow. Are you from LA, by the way?
No, I lived south of here in Orange County, but I'm from Michigan originally. I grew up outside of Ann Arbor, small town called Brighton.
Oh yeah.
First place I worked at, Brighton Bar and Grill. So shout out to Scotty Heath, worked at his dad's place. He runs a record label now up in San Francisco.
Really?
Yeah. Tank Crimes. They do a lot of metal and punk.
That's cool.
Good thing, yeah. But day for me starts about 4 a.m. I go to CrossFit every day. I do maybe 5-6 days a week of that. It's just good because I walk in the door and I like to work out. I don't have to think about it. You just show up, like your workout for the day is written up on the whiteboard. Like they coach you through it, and then it's just lifting weights, doing pull-ups, stuff like that, running around.
Do you do the competitions too?
No, I didn't do competition. I'm just in it for me.
Yeah.
Like I'm not that good. I just get a little bit better every week.
I like CrossFit other than when they push you for the competitions.
Yeah.
It's like, I just want to work out.
Yeah. I just do it to work out.
Yeah.
I've got a couple good guys that work out with me in the morning. So like we compete with each other, but that's about it. Like when I outside of the gym, I'm not that good. But in the gym, it's fun.
4 a.m. What time are you going to sleep?
About 8:05, 8:30. I got 2 little kids, so we put them to bed, then we get to bed.
Dude, how old are your kids?
6 and 9. Yeah.
I have a 4 and a 6-year-old. So basically kids go down and then you're right to bed.
Kids go down. I might read something on the Kindle, like look up a cookbook, but then try and, hit the hay. But to me, it's a luxury. Like I worked in New York City for so many years, like up late at night.
Yeah.
Like going to bed at 2, 3, 4 in the morning, even like 5 in the morning if we went out afterwards. So now like going to bed early and waking up early, that's like a treat. Because so much of my life, I just was up late.
Yeah.
Something nice.
Is that also like a West Coast thing? Because most people that even like a lot of my team, they just get up earlier.
The thing that I can do, or the reason I can do it is because I started on the East Coast. And when I moved out here, I was still in that time frame, but it's 3 hours off now. So before I used to wake up at, 9, 10, take 3 hours off that at 6 in the morning already. So
yeah, moving
out here made it easier.
It's amazing. Get the whole day ahead of you.
Oh yeah. You get so much stuff in.
Yeah. All right. So after CrossFit, get into the office here. Usually have breakfast here. So we got a lot of good snacks. I'm big on good culture. So we got good culture cottage cheese here. Have you had that one before? It's fantastic. Wait, that's not vegan, right?
No, it's not vegan. It's like a dairy cream or cottage cheese, but like really
I like
good.
A good cottage cheese.
Yeah, like 17, 18 grams of protein in one.
Nice.
Have one of those, maybe a couple bananas, some apples, like good stuff. Get into the test kitchen. We get a lot of deliveries. So usually first thing I do is sort through what's coming in FedEx. We get samples, stuff we're working on with suppliers. Like people send us things like, hey, check out our new soda company or like our new protein bar company.
That must happen all the time.
All the time. Like probably we get 15 to 25 boxes a day. You never know what's going to be in it. Could be like someone sending you their cheese that they want you to try out, or like some cool varietal of lettuce shows up. It's fun. Like it's awesome. It's like Christmas every day here.
Yeah. All right. So you get the orders.
Open the boxes. Yep. Team starts to roll in. We talk through like what we owe to different teams. Like could be we owe like COGS or like money or food costs forecasting to finance. We might have to calculate some of that stuff. So we figure out like who has responsibilities where. Jocelyn's our food scientist. She'll talk about like what we need to do with suppliers. Like if we have any samples coming in that we have to try from them, or if we owe them any data.
Yep.
And then just maybe head upstairs. So our test kitchen's down in the basement. Go up, talk to the marketing team, just kind of roll through, see everybody, say hi, and then get back down to the test kitchen and honestly start cooking, figure out like what we're going to work on.
When you say figure out what you want to work on, let's just jump into this, to the whole R&D process. Is that something that you are thinking about far ahead of time, or is it, is it more ad hoc? Like how does the ideation start?
It depends, yeah. So sometimes like we might work on something way far out. Like it's just an idea, like a blue sky innovation. And it's just something like maybe it's a passion project for us. We'll work on those things, but also we have dependencies like marketing team. So I work really closely with the marketing team. In a company like this, or even like Burger King or Chipotle, but at scale, like you've got a team that goes out there and figures out like, hey, what could we launch that would be good? Like they talk to customers, like the insights team does. They see like what other competitors are doing. Like maybe there's a niche that we could fill out, and they come back with ideas to my team. My team's like, okay, well, you want to do a lemonade? All right, what would be cool? What we could do like a green lemonade. We could do a strawberry lemonade. We could do like something really crazy. And we start to put together ideas, and we work with the market team going back and forth. We might take like a big list of ideas and push that to the insights team. And they'll go and talk to our customers. They'll talk to like our super heavy customers, the people come 5 days a week. Like, would you like this? They'll come to the people that come once a month. They'll go to like what we call a lapsed consumer, like maybe someone that used to come a lot, but they stopped, and be like, hey, like we know you haven't been in a while. Like if we launch something like this, would you be interested? We got a lot of cool data, like information that we can use to work with. And it's fun. It's like different than in fine dining when you launch something. Like you're the chef, you put it out there, you kind of have like a vibe. You've got to feel like, I think my customers will like this. Sometimes it hits. And sometimes like you put a special out there and like no one buys it. Like you might sell 3 to your regulars and that's about it. So it's nice to have the insights team because they like really do a lot of good, like logical, analytical, like thought into what something could, like how popular it could be. Like they get things like purchase intent. They get you all sorts of cool metrics that like help you design it to be better. And like you can improve upon it and send that idea right back out and see like, okay, well, they don't like it when it's green, but if it's like a bright orange, like they'll buy that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a different way of thinking about food.
So are most of the ideas, is the genesis of most of these ideas coming from marketing? Is there?
No, it's like in this company, it's kind of a 3-way. So founders, so we're founder led. So lots of good ideas coming from there, from marketing, and then from culinary. So a little bit everywhere, but we vibe off each other a lot. Like we might know, we have an idea, we want to launch like a protein. And from there, it's like my team might cook a bunch of stuff. We all sit down and taste it, figure out like if we like those flavors. And if we do, then we start to throw that into that insights pipeline that I was talking about and seeing like what kind of information can we get back on it? Like, okay, it's like a spicy chicken. Like how spicy do we want to be? Do you want like notes of garlic in there, herbs? Like, do we want to tie it to cuisine or we just want it to be spicy chicken? And just kind of build off of it that way.
So is a lot of that back and forth happening before you ever even cook anything? Just sort of direction?
We'll just sit down sometimes and like talk about things, or like we're active on Instagram and even like going out to eat. Like when someone in the group goes out to eat, like send pictures of all the cool things that you had and just kind of like feed off it that way.
Sounds like so much fun.
It is. It's a ton of fun. It's so much different than being like when you run a restaurant, like writing the dishes and writing the menu and like doing that work. That's a big part of it. But you're also like processing payroll, like staying up on maintenance, buying your equipment, dealing with your investors, your landlord, all those things. Like at the corporate level, like I'm just straight food. Like I just think about food. I mean, I think about like how we're going to execute in the store, like the labor model. I think about how we're going to cost it out. But, at the heart of it, I do way much more cooking now than when I was running restaurants. Because it's just like, it's just, I never thought it would be like that. But that was like a learning, like coming from fine dining to here.
Yeah. What is so once you have landed on an idea, right? Even if you do decide, okay, actually it should be an orange lemonade, not a, I imagine you're making 14 different kinds of orange lemonade. And
could be doing 50 times. Yeah.
So what is that process like? Like who's involved? And then what are
Mostly it's my team. One of our founders, Nick, he's big into food, Nick Jamais.
Yep.
He comes from New York City as well. His mom, Rita, like huge wine importer there. So he's like grew up in the food scene. His parents used to own a restaurant, like a real popular place in Manhattan. So he knows food really well. So usually we cook stuff for him and we kind of just like discuss through it. We might eliminate stuff on our end. He might eliminate something. We narrow down to like a few. And we just kind of shop it around the office. Like, make a couple gallons of lemonade, put it upstairs in the break room, like see what kind of comments you get. Like someone might slack you like, that was amazing. What was it? And then you're onto something.
So you get these ideas in and then you sort of run them through insights. When do you start to consider, once you're past the sort of the creative piece of this, the profit margin piece, the execution piece?
So like we love an idea. Next step is, does the financial model work? So I work with the supply chain team. We figure out, okay, what farms are we going to source from? What's like the window where they're going to harvest this stuff, and start to calculate all that out. Like, okay, how much does it cost at the field? How much does it cost to push it through logistics chains? So like something's picked at the field, gets shipped to a warehouse, and it gets shipped to our store. Each time that adds a little bit of cost. So we figure that out. Then they run your normal yield tests. Like it's a Brussels sprout, you probably get 75% yield off that once you peel it and chop it. And then build out the financial model, see what your cook yield is for everything, and say, okay, does this make sense financially? Like, can we do this for, 25% or less food cost with a decent amount of labor, like a minimal amount of labor? Like a cool thing about Sweetgreen is we process a lot of things in back of house, meaning like we get cases of kale, case of romaine, comes straight from the fields. We strip it, wash it, chop it, serve it, right? So I have to make sure whatever I bring in, like I can put a little bit of labor into it, but not too much. Like I can't put our teams like making a brunoise of something, right? Like it has to has to be a way to automate it within reason, like with RoboCous or VitaPreps or like immersion blenders. But we do more than most any other chain at our scale.
Yeah, I didn't realize how much prep you guys do in store.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
What do you do with the stems of the kale?
Sometimes we incorporate them. We've actually been working on a program that we're pretty proud of where we buy them when they've been stripped in the field, which is nice because the stems, which a lot of times they're tough to use, like they can be too stringy. They can actually go right back into the field and then they plow them under. It becomes part of like the...
Oh, that's cool.
It goes back into the soil. It's good.
Oh, that's really cool.
And then also costs us to ship it because you've got just a better yield off that case.
Yeah, of course. Is there are there instances when a dish kills and everyone loves it, but you just couldn't figure out the economics of it?
Yeah, we've definitely had it in the past. Gets tougher with proteins. Like everyone wants to cook with short ribs and stuff like that, but since everyone wants to cook with them, the price is up. So you learn to cook with stuff that you can do better with, like use sous vide cooking to like kind of influence it.
Can you think of something that didn't really pass?
No, I mean, at this point in my career, I'm pretty good at like working to figure out like what's going to work. I can't think off the top of my head, but there has to be some out there. Like probably when I was earlier on, like beautiful idea, maybe either too hard to execute, but off the top of my head, I can't think of one.
Are there times when sort of the genesis of the idea comes right from culinary, but marketing kind of shuts it down? I remember like doing sunchokes at
oh yeah, sunchokes. I couldn't get sunchokes on the menu.
Yeah, I didn't even realize the whole like gas piece of this.
Yeah.
Because, sunchokes are great. You roast them but they got shut down pretty quick. But does that ever happen?
No, if anything, it's like sometimes we might get a little esoteric with like an ingredient and marketing seems like, yeah, people don't really know what like calamansi is quite yet. Like, let's stick with clementine.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
How do you handle that? Is there like something you can sort of advocate for, like for education?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you can just keep it in there. It's, well, we're going to put it in there because we like the flavor of it. We just won't talk about it. Like, and the consumers that know will know, and the ones that don't, it's still cool.
Yeah. When does a dish like feel done for you? And by the way, I asked this last year at the chef conference to like the Noma team and people, and I got some really interesting answers. So maybe think about this not just through the frame of like Sweetgreen, but generally speaking, like when do you feel like this thing's done and I can kind of walk away?
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna give you my restaurant side, and then like at scale, like big cooking. So in the restaurant, like I think it's done the first night it goes out there. Or maybe it's done like you run it as a special a few times, you like it, people like it, and you put it in your core menu. That's done, I think, in a restaurant. You might tweak it and stuff, but generally like once your team's made it a few times and like you feel good and you can source everything and like it's recreatable and like people rave about it, it's good. But then when you get to at scale cooking, like at Sweetgreen or like big places like that, it's constantly there. Like you're always working on it. You're working on, okay, how can we do it more efficiently in the back of house? Like what processes can I change? Your supply chain could change. Like maybe you start sourcing corn from Georgia and then the field, they start sourcing a little bit north and north and north. So you have to constantly taste like, what does that corn taste like? What does that taste like? Or you might have other supply chain issues like we can't get that avocado oil anymore. Like let's try this new brand or just all sorts of stuff like that. So it's like you're constantly tweaking.
Does it ever feel like, okay, now we're good?
When you feel like you're good, usually something's about to go wrong.
Yeah. What do you feel like is similar about what you're doing now as it relates to R&D, menu development, or even just like what you're excited about relative to what you were doing at Chipotle and Burger King and things like that? Obviously very different brands, but also really scaled.
Yeah, I think we still focus on good flavors. Like across all three brands, like you have brand flavors you want to hit and you just kind of different paths to get there. So like Chipotle, they want things that taste good, but it's like more Mexican. Like Burger King, it's like more traditional, like American, like fast food, like spicy, like really super rich umami, like kind of rich, indulgent, salty, sweet, sour, like hit all those senses. And Sweetgreen's like fresh, flavorful, like from the farm flavors, but it all tastes good at the end. And I think that's kind of like cool. Like it's just different paths to get there. Like either you're going straight farm to table, like Sweetgreen style, or maybe you take like a little detour to the south of Mexico with Chipotle, or if it's just like straight gluttonous fun, that's Burger King.
Yeah. What are some things that are like wildly different?
Wildly different?
Yeah.
Probably the attention to detail here at Sweetgreen. Like we want to go right back to who grows it for us. We're real careful about sugars and like how we use them here. Like we basically just use honey, maple syrup, coconut sugar, and that's about it. Date syrup sometimes.
You ever messed with monk fruit?
I haven't done yet. It's one of those things we call polarizing. Like some consumers love it, some consumers don't. And like when you're dealing with 250 stores and like coast to coast, you got to be mindful. Like you got to find something that California's going to like, that Michigan's going to like, and New York is going to like.
Yeah. Are there any regions that are like outliers of it works everywhere other than this one region?
No, I mean, we're working to like, things don't really hit the menu unless we know they're going to do well. So it also like, as you think about big at scale stuff, you could do that. Like you could have regional favorites everywhere, but then you got to train regional favorites. So you have to like kind of play it back. Like, is it worth like having the ops team now has to train 5 ways to do this recipe? Like as a chef, like, am I going to walk into those stores and like find that it's done 5 different ways perfectly? Or could I figure out one best way that everybody does? Like what's going to make me happier long-term? And generally it's kind of try and get everyone to do the same thing.
Yeah. How do you measure success in what you're doing? I mean, there's so much that happens after you finish a dish.
Okay, the corporate answer is like, oh, the KPIs and the metrics good. But like for me, it's when someone I know goes into the store, tries it, just like unannounced, like maybe one of my chef buddies, my mom, like family, friends, like people I went to high school with, like, hey man, I had the ripple fries, they're amazing. That's like my measure of success. Like how many texts, like positive texts do I get when I launch a product?
Yeah, and so what are the corporate, metrics?
Like, okay, what's your attachment? How many times are people adding to their check? Like, are you driving traffic? Are you seeing lapsed consumers come back in? I mean, those are all the positive metrics that you want to have. Like, are you driving more traffic? Like, you bringing new people into the stores, or like those people that didn't come as often, are they coming more often now? Or like this consumer used to have a $15 check, now they've got a $19 check. Like those are all really good things for a business.
Yeah. Tell me about your team. I mean, I obviously met a bunch of them there, but.
So, okay, I've got a cool team. I've got 4 core people on my team. So if you think about a product like at scale, like there's this ideation process where you develop it. So I've got a chef, Mark, who's our lead R&D chef, does that stuff. And then from there, you might have to commercialize it. So I've got a food scientist, Jocelyn. She's got a master's in food science. She's just really good at stuff. So she can take it to like a supplier or like someone to commercialize it for us and like make sure that it matches what we're doing in store or like in the test kitchen. So this might be for like a sauce or something like that. Some of the dressings we upstream, like we have commercialized. And it's pretty interesting because this is like a big learning thing for me. Like if you think about in fine dining, you make a puree, right? You make a puree in your VitaPrep and you got to get it cold real quick. So you maybe made like a 2 kilo batch. You throw that over ice, like in a bowl, you do the whole spinny thing and it gets cold in about 3 minutes. Now you scale it up and you make a 5,000 pound batch. You might make it in a giant kettle. You've got same speed of like the blending, maybe even faster because like those machines are cooler, but it's hot. Now to get 5,000 pounds of something cold, that actually probably takes 25 minutes because you got to pump it out of there. So you have to start to think like, okay, the first 5 minutes are going to have a different texture and flavor than the last 5 minutes just because they've been held hot longer. So you just like start to think about those things. So I've got a food scientist that helps us solve those problems. And then I've got an operations person that helps like take ideas live. Like, we might think up something in the test kitchen and it's a little clumsy or tricky. And she'll go and take those recipes and be like, okay, in store, we have this equipment. We've got these portioning tools. Here's how we're actually going to manufacture this in store and kind of tightens it up for us.
Yeah.
And I've got a guy named Kurt that actually runs our test kitchen, receives samples, sets up our day for us. So a small team, but fun.
It's great. It's great to have a small, tight team.
Yeah, it's good. And we vibe really well, text a lot. We're always eating in the kitchen. Like you came in there, we had pies from Squirrel.
That looked good.
Good day today.
You guys go out to eat a lot too?
We do, yeah.
What's your LA spots that you like?
Me, I like tacos. I like any good taco spot I'll drive by. If I'm driving by like through the city and it looks good, I'll probably pull up and try something.
Yeah. If someone was coming out of town, where would you send them?
There's a place up the road here called Holbox. It's really good.
Yeah.
Like seafood style tacos. Really good.
That.
Oh, we could take you there.
I love a good taco. You know what I always think about with creativity in general, in a good way, is constraints. I feel like putting some sort of constraint around what you do is a great way to innovate because otherwise it's like overwhelming.
Yeah, it can be.
What are like some of the constraints for creating food within Sweetgreen that you really appreciate, and then some that are just a fucking pain in the ass that you just have to do?
Okay, things I appreciate. There's only so many things you can bring into the store, right? Like I've already got a couple vinegars in store. I've got a nice sea salt. I've got avocado oil, extra virgin olive oil. Like I've got those, so those are good. Like I'm not going to worry about bringing in like almond oil or something else like that. Like I don't really want to bring in too many more allergens. So it's good. That kind of keeps us clean when we develop stuff. And there's also only so many things you can bring into a store. So like I can't teach 250 stores worth of teams like how to make 15 new like SKUs to go on or like items to go on top of a salad. I can do maybe 2 or 3. So that's kind of nice. Like if we think up a concept, we have to think, okay, we're going to reuse the romaine. We're going to reuse the white rice. Like what can we do? Like we know we've got cabbage from something else. Like what could we use that? Like we kind of pick and choose, but it's nice since we have so many fresh vegetables in there, you can do it. And then I think about, okay, well, if I bring in something from the outside, what could it be? Like, how special does it have to be? And then kind of like go that way. And I'll tell you the troubling part is at Sweetgreen, you can kind of do whatever you want, like any flavor profile. Like Burger King was easy. It's like Americana. Chipotle was super easy. It's like American Mexican food. But Sweetgreen, man, any direction. Sometimes you got so much blue sky, you don't know which way to fly.
Yeah, it's gotta be, it does have to be a little bit overwhelming.
Yeah, it's a little, sometimes you need some guardrails there to like slow you down.
I mean, have you thought about some just very off the beaten path type flavors with, I don't know, like Ethiopian or things?
We have, we think about a lot of that stuff, but it goes back to like, I mean, we're always putting those into we call them concept sorts when we talk to consumers. Like we throw these concepts out there. And if you don't get enough people that recognize it, like all that work and like all that sourcing, it can just be for naught. Like if no one buys it, like you're really helping out.
It's a lot of upfront work. So we're obviously going to test, we're going to look at some stuff in the test kitchen today, which I'm pretty stoked about. And I wanted to talk about some of the new dishes that have already gone live and then the new one that's going live soon.
Mm-hmm.
But because of the new dish that's coming live, I'd love to talk a bit about collaboration and like how you think about collaboration, because it's pretty unique the way that you guys collaborate or that you collaborate with chefs. And the new menu item that's coming out, I believe, is
it's a Korean barbecue plate.
Yeah. So why don't we talk about collaboration a little bit? How you think about collaboration and how what you've learned about collaboration from Sweetgreen and
Okay. So we knew that we wanted to do something with Korean barbecue because it's like we eat a lot. Like especially when we go to New York, we go to K-Town. Also, K-Town in LA is really good too. And I live in Orange County. Like there's just a lot of good Korean barbecue down there too. So it's something that we were like really getting excited about eating so much. And we thought that it'd do well with our menu. And also like as we talked to people, like our customers, they were like, yeah, it sounds cool. Let's do it. So we want to find a cool partner. Coat, I used to live in New York. Nick, one of our founders, is really good friends with Simon, their founder. And it was just kind of like a kind of a good match there. They've got like a real good food aesthetic. They've got a real good style aesthetic. And we thought it'd be fun to do with them. So we reached out and they were all about it. Like they wanted to work. So also, like, I'm not an expert in Korean food. Like, I didn't grow up cooking it. I've never worked in a Korean restaurant. I know how to eat the heck out of it, but that's about it. So we hooked up with them. They've got a chef there. His name's David, like really good guy.
Yeah.
Have you met David Shim?
No, I know him.
Okay, he's awesome. Really good guy. He's got a little bit of French background, but also just good cook, like really good cook. So like the best, like way you could describe a chef. Like the guy cooks good. We went and talked to him and then just started to kind of riff with him. Like we wanted to do Coat's menu and flavors, but like through the lens of Sweetgreen. So using some of our products, like some of our, like our food ethos, like their sweeteners, like we're using maple syrup and some of the stuff, apple juice to sweeten instead of like cane sugar, things like that. But it worked out really well. And it was just a little tricky because they're based in New York. We're based in LA. So there was a lot of flying back and forth, a lot of emails, like we'd email recipes back and forth, try and recreate each other's recipes, sometimes good, sometimes bad. But after I think 6 or 7 weeks, we kind of narrowed it down and we're at a good place now.
Well, I mean, what does a good collaboration look like in the end?
Both sides are happy. Like the food's delicious. People like it, but ultimately like you come out of it like a good taste in your mouth. Like that was fun to work with. Like I can't wait to like see David again, like hang out with him. We're going to do a little bit of like a launch party in the next week or two.
That's awesome. So
we'll fly out
in LA or New York?
No, in New York. We're going to go to Coat. They've got something they're cooking up.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that you're both using Mies as well. You can just put the recipes are probably right on there. So when you're thinking about these collaborations, do you try to think about the specific person first, or
we think about like like how do we want to sell this? Like what do we want it to be? Are we like looking straight farm to table? Are we looking for something like Korean barbecue? And then we kind of like pick a couple people that we think could be cool. And like sometimes there's an existing relationship. It's better because that you just know they're going to be cool. So Nick knew Simon and I knew David a little bit. So it just, ended up being a good partnership.
That's great. Well, I want to talk about that dish, but before we get into that one, the ripple fry is fairly new.
Yeah.
And you got a bunch of great press for it. So I'd love to, like, what was the genesis of that? How did that come to be? Why did you guys decide to do it?
Well, we've got this thing we say here, we're kind of like redesign fast food or like rethink fast food. And what's more synonymous with fast food than the French fry? And like, as a chef, I love it because it's a potato, right? Like you start with a potato, you kind of transform it with a little bit of love and it's something great. So a French fry is great. And we were thinking like, how can we do that for Sweetgreen? We don't have French fryers, we don't have fryers. We don't have freezers, so I can't like upstream it and bring in like a frozen thing and fry it. We wanted to air fry it. So we've got really nice ovens. So every store we have has either 2 or 3 rationales. So those things like the Rolls Royce of ovens.
Yeah.
We just started playing around, like, how can you air fry something? And like probably like 250 iterations, we finally ended up on the ripple fry. So if you don't know what the ripple fry is, it's like a round, but with a waffled cut to it. And that's good because you get more airflow, which makes them crispier. And it was just a lot of playing around until we finally got to something nice. But I mean, we cut it in the ripple, which gives it more surface area, so it crisps better. We make like this cool, it's like a avocado potato starch slurry, and actually apply the slurry to the outside of it.
Oh, instead interesting.
Of just, so I've never made a slurry with oil before. Like I've always done it with water and thickened it that way. But we actually put this, we're running like a normal, like we put this into a store, and we got this call from a GM one day. It was like, hey, my team accidentally like mixed the oil with the potato starch, and it actually works good. And I was like, wait, I've never done that in my career. And this is like 25-year career.
Yeah.
We took it in the test kits, we tried it. It actually works really well. So we toss the potatoes in that. We roast them on a perforated silpat with a perforated hotel pan, like nice high heat, low humidity. Run it through like a...
That's some work.
Yeah, it's some work, but it comes out real nice. It's a nice air fried potato.
So you had, I mean, that's some stacks of ovens to get enough fries.
Yeah.
It's a russet?
It's a russet. Yep, russet Idaho. So good starch content. We tried with a bunch of things. We actually wanted to do it with sweet potatoes. Too much sugar.
Yeah.
Then, okay, purple potatoes. Hard to find those.
Yeah.
But the russet's actually like gorgeous. I mean, it's good for a French fry. It's good for a ripple fry.
How do you deal with, I always found that like right around September, the starch content of these potatoes would change.
You know, we launched in the spring. So September is coming. We'll see. But we put a lot of feelers out to our teams. Like we've got a couple key head coaches, and we start to notice things. I can change oven cycles. In the past, I ran a rotisserie, and during the changeover, we just soak them longer, wash them longer in water. Yeah, cold water. Hopefully that'll solve it. That's so
interesting. That slurry with the oil. That's so smart.
Try it, man. It's interesting. It works.
So, I mean, my wife air fries basically everything at home. I still don't know what air frying means. I mean, we do it all the time. But what is air frying?
Convection cooking.
Is it literally just that? Like, what makes air frying different from convection?
I mean, in a rationale, I'm guessing a lot of people that listen to your podcast know what a rationale is, like all the chefs out there. But is that thing on the high, like the level 5, I want to say the rep holds the 60 or 70 mile per hour wind or air inside that oven. Yeah. So basically it's just convected air, hot air.
Gotcha. So it's basically, okay. Yeah. It's like really, really like superpowered convection.
Superpowered convection, which, you know, in restaurants, you're used to that because whether it's a Blodge or whatever, like that's a big fan. But compare like, you know, your mom's home oven, if it even has a fan. Well, it's a pretty big thing in the home, but I mean, we've been doing air frying in restaurants for years now.
That's crazy. So did you have to put anything else into the store? It sounds like you were just able to use the existing stack.
Yeah, we bought the silpats and bought the perforated sheet trays, but, you know, just use the existing ovens.
That didn't like impact like the prep schedule, like all
it does a little bit, yeah. So early when I was talking about like how does it affect labor, you kind of see what the size of the prize is. Like, okay, how much money can we make if we sell 50 units a day? Okay, so how much labor could we throw at that? And like, what's our food cost going to be? And luckily for food costs, when you start with a case of 120 count russets, food cost isn't bad. Yeah. Avocado oil is a little pricey, but we're not using a ton of it. It's like a cup in a recipe.
Are they peeling them?
No. Skin on. We just wash them and then run them through the Robocoup. Yeah, and then it's automated. So we use a big 2 horsepower Robocoup with that ripple blade on there.
Dude, Robocoups are like, those big Robocoups are just beasts, man.
Yeah, we love them.
Yeah. Tell me about the Infinite Kitchen. Like, how's that going?
The IKs?
How does that change? The IKs.
Yeah, we call them the IKs here. The Infinite Kitchens, they're a lot of fun, actually. Like chef's perspective, they're nice. So if you don't know what they are, it's like this heat and humidity controlled tube that everything lives in. So if it's a lettuce, it lives in a different tube than like a hot protein does, which is different than like a sweet potato. So everything's all controlled, and then it kind of portions it out in the bowl. And we kind of take like the not so fun part of the job, which is like dealing directly with people like, hey, give me a little more of that, a little more of this, like kind of drives people crazy. We put that into the machine, and now all of our cooks focus on like actually hospitality, like greeting people, telling them about the menu, or actually cooking food in the back. So
so basically prep and then just engagement.
So in our IK stores now, it's like you prep and like you do like a good job, like making the food really tasty, or you're up front, like guiding people through, like here's how you order. Oh, like the spicy broccoli, it's a little spicy, but not too bad. And you're like doing actually real hospitality, like real customer service.
I love that.
It's fun. And we noticed like a lot of good things, like the turnover is a lot lower in those stores just because it's just more pleasant. Like there's no real nastiness to the job.
You know what's funny is, I don't know about you, but like for me, the best part of cooking in restaurants is prep before service. I mean, service is like it's just a different thing altogether. They're 2 completely different jobs. Like there's, dialing in your station and just making sure all your prep is done before service, which is like a whole, like the time and when you're going to put this sauce on. I know I got to strain this at this time. I got these things in the oven and
when you got that list in your head, it's like 12 things long, like what you're going to do next.
It's for me, that's what I love about cooking and service. Is a completely different thing. It's just a completely
it's basically two different jobs.
Yeah, they really are. And I mean, I don't know, for me, prep is just way more fun. So it's funny because I was going to ask you, is the sentiment from the team like happier in these stores?
I think it is. Yeah, we do see that as happier
because it is very assembly line-ish. Obviously to like have to assemble all those things, and it's also somewhat transactional.
It is a little,
because you can't really look at somebody in the eye while
looking at the product. Yeah,
while you're looking at the product. So I think it's super smart. Otherwise, are there any other like big learnings from the I'm going to call it, but like you did the IKs? You
have to be maybe a little bit more like your prep has to be real spot on because like a human picks something out with tongs. They might pick out 3 or 4. They can figure that out. But the IK, it's going to kind of dump out a portion. So you got to make sure everything's uniform. Like if you're trimming broccoli, like all the broccoli florets should be about the same.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Like your knife cuts have to be good. But it's nothing you can't coach.
Yeah. All right. And is the machines, are they sort of iterative? Almost like you would sort of, prompt an AI? Are you able to like improve the efficacy of how well they portion? How they...
Yeah, there's a couple different settings we can play with. Like I can't talk too much about them, but I can dial in. Like if I want 80 grams or if I want 85 grams, it'll figure it out for me.
It always reminds me, remember those games that you take your kids to where there's like a claw?
Oh yeah.
And you never win? Dude, my son, I took him to this thing like 3 weeks ago and he just didn't understand the premise. And he just wouldn't, it was like, we were there for 2 hours. Because I told him.
Blowing through credits?
I told him how much, I gave him the money ahead of time, which is a dumb idea. And he's like, no, I just want to play this. There was like 1,000 other games to do. And he just did that claw for like 2 hours.
I take my kids, I avoid the claw part. I go, let's go do Jurassic Park and shoot the dinosaurs.
Never again am I doing that.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking about AI, but like, how are you using or not using AI today? Whether for yourself or
the easy answer is like you can put in there and be, okay, what would 4 cool fall salads for Sweetgreen be? I mean, that's pretty basic, but what I actually use it for is I've got 250 stores, like 2 to 3 ovens per store, and they are all spitting out a lot of data to me. So they can tell me like, anytime someone hits a button, like, okay, cook the blackened chicken, I know what the airspeed was, I know what the temperature is like every 10 seconds, and I can track like how that whole cycle went. Now, picture that across 365 days. I can use like Claude AI or something like that to kind of ingest the data and look for trends. And I can be like, okay, I can ask it like, okay, how many stores are cooking chicken like right at open, which is like what you want, right? Like you want doors are open in 15 minutes, fire the chicken, first guest comes in, fresh, hot, ready to go.
Yeah.
And I can use that to kind of troubleshoot like where problems are. And if I see like, well, there's a subset of stores that starts cooking chicken at 9:30 in the morning, like an hour ahead. So it's already an hour old. I can be like, okay, well, what's causing that? Like what's going on in the labor model or like the prep model where they have to do that to accommodate? We can kind of find problems that way.
Yeah.
It's like it's for me to run data like that. It's really like, it's nice. Like I'm a chef. Like, I don't know how to do that stuff, but I drop that CSV file in there and I cut it up a little bit with like basic terms. And pretty soon, like I can see some nice generalizations.
That makes it, I mean, that's so smart. I have to imagine too. I mean, there's so many things going into that combi oven at different temperature and humidity, and and he's going to cool down for this much time before this next program. That if you plugged all that into AI, it could tell you exactly when to prep each thing.
That's the goal. Yeah, that's what we're kind of working on.
That's cool. How has all of this? I mean, you were at Danielle, you were at Per Se, you were at all these Park Hyatt. You, obviously, like you were in the upper echelon of fine dining, so you clearly were. We never cooked together, but I can tell you clearly were a really great chef. And now you've sort of stepped into this whole sort of food at scale. How has this made you a better chef?
A lot more attention to like the back end detail, like where things come from, like how you process it, like waste, like what's someone's day going to be like if they have to come in and clean 60 pounds of kale, like across 2 hours. Like you start to think about that stuff. Like fine dining is just like everyone there, like, I mean, you work at Per Se, like there were people beating down the door from every country to work there.
Yeah.
So like anyone wants to go there now, in a fast casual restaurant, like people aren't going to put up with 2 hours of cleaning dirty kale. Like you got to find a way to do it faster. So you start to think about, okay, well, if I put this on the menu, like, is it really going to be what I want it to be? Like, are they going to put the same love that I'm going to put into it? Or do I have to think of a better way to do it? So like 240 stores or 250 stores, like every cook that comes in there is like excited to do it, it's not too much trouble. It's just like 30 minutes of labor and it's done. So I think a lot more about like how we can process things, because I realize like maybe if you got a job at Sweetgreen, like you might love food, but maybe you're doing something else. Maybe you're going to college too, something like that. Like this maybe isn't going to be your long-term career aspect. So you just have to like kind of program things slightly different.
Yeah, no, it makes a ton of sense. This is great. We should cook some food.
Yeah, man, let's go to the kitchen.
Oh, I brought you something, by the way. I forgot.
Wow.
I don't think I've given you these before.
No.
You guys always could use more digital scales.
Oh, yeah, of course.
These, though they could be used for drugs, you shouldn't. Little pocket scales.
Little drug scales. This is cool, man. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
You can never have enough of those things.
Thank you. You ready to cook some food?
Yeah, let's go.
All right.